So as we all know, Dan Hooker is out of his would-be fight of the year contender fight with Justin Gaethje because of the fact that he fucked up his hand really bad. It looks like a fucking oven mitt. Um, and he did say he would fight. He would still fight, but the doctors, the UFC, the organization, the commission, they're not going to let that happen with an injury like that. So Dan Hooker's out. It's a bummer. Justin Gaethje has been looking for a dance partner for this fight for a while now, and he finally got it. The UFC has booked a fight between Justin and Rafael Fiziev for 3 rounds instead of 5. I think it's the next best thing. Not really next best thing. There are a couple other big lightweight names that could have taken the fight or been in the fight, but this is the next best thing when considering the handful of guys that called Justin Gaethje out. When Dan Hooker pulled out, there were 3 guys that were gunning for that fight, or were I guess overly gunning for the fight. Those 3 guys were Renato Moicano, Mateusz Gamrot, and Rafael Fiziev. All 3 called out Justin Gaethje. Out of those 3, I would argue that Fiziev is the would make the most entertaining fight. There's a chance Renato Moicano can do the same, but I don't think Renato would really make that fight entertaining on the feet. It would more so be on the ground with how vicious his ground and pound is. But still, it's on the ground. So there are still variables there that could still make the fight boring. But it's not a complete dig the ground game because I know when you have 2 very high level ground game guys, a fight could really be fun to watch. Look at Aljamain Sterling versus Evloev, for example. Really fun fight to watch. Both high level grapplers going back and forth, reversing positions, stuff like that. It's fun to watch still. Either way, I do think Fiziev is the next best move out of that handful of guys. Because I think Fiziev is going to stand on the feet. He's going to brawl it out with Justin. There's a chance he could go to ground game, but I don't think it's a really large chance. These 2 have fought before, and it was an entertaining fight on the feet. I think the same thing will happen for this fight. Fiziev is coming off of a long hiatus, so I think there will be cage rust. I think that plays a huge factor in this fight. Like I said, it's going to be entertaining. I think it's going to be a brawl. I think both fighters are going to be gunning for each other's heads, and I think Gaethje obviously is probably going to win this fight. One, with Rafael Fiziev's cage rust being a aspect of it, and 2, just how good Justin Gaethje is in brawls and what he's been able to do in their first fight, which was basically outpunch Fiziev. I think Gaethje does the same in this fight, probably even knocks Fiziev out. I want to say round 2, and then I think this is the perfect outcome for Gaethje though. It's a perfect outcome because I believe Gaethje is going to win, and if Gaethje is even able to get a knockout out of this fight in round 2 or 3, he can call immediately for a title shot. And I think Islam Makhachev will absolutely oblige and give it to him because Islam has even mentioned in certain interviews that he wants to fight Gaethje. That he wants to see a fresh face to fight against, and he believes Gaethje is that fresh face. It's also interesting because Islam's coach Khabib Nurmagomedov, a UFC legend, also fought Gaethje. So it's also kind of an interesting thing there to fight the master and now fight the student. So it's pretty cool to witness that. But still, this is a great spot for Justin Gaethje. It is a great spot. And I want to also talk about what Mateusz Gamrot said because there was also mention of how the Gaethje fight was offered to Renato and Mateusz Gamrot, but both of their camps or both of their teams declined for some reason. But I also find that weird because Mateusz Gamrot came to social media not too long ago to say that he believes Justin Gaethje, got away with it in selecting Rafael Fiziev because he believes that he would have given Gaethje the harder fight, like a harder fight than Fiziev because he's a wrestler, and he believes strikers are scared of wrestlers. I don't necessarily disagree with Gamrot. I do believe that Fiziev is the easiest fight out of the 3 guys: Renato Moicano, Fiziev, and Gamrot. I think Fiziev is the easiest guy to fight for a guy like Justin Gaethje, because Renato is going to be, trying to fucking take you down every second, and once he does, it's vicious ground and pound from there. And then you got a guy like Mateusz Gamrot, who's probably just going to sit on you for like five rounds or 3 rounds. So it's best to not really go against a very strong grappler and a guy that's going to oblige with fighting on the feet and just duke it out with you for 3 or 5 rounds. Rafael Fiziev is that guy to duke it out with you for 3 or 5 rounds. So I think it is the easiest fight for Gaethje out of the 3, and I think it's the most entertaining fight for Gaethje out of the 3. So I think, whether it goes to the ground or not, I think it's going to be an entertaining fight. It will not be as entertaining as Dan Hooker versus Justin Gaethje would have been, but it's still going to be entertaining nonetheless. I think it's going to be, a battle. It's going to be a dogfight in some senses, even though I do believe Justin Gaethje is going to be ahead of Fiziev and basically outpunch him every second, every minute of this fight. And like I said, I do like the odds of Justin Gaethje knocking out Fiziev. If I had to be specific with you guys, I'd say Justin Gaethje gets it done. This is going to be a 3-rounder, so I think Justin Gaethje gets it done in round 3. I think it's going to be bloody. I think, Gaethje is going to probably have dropped Fiziev maybe once or twice, and then probably early round 3 he finally gets it done with a really clean punch, a wide overhand, or one of those big swinging ass punches he likes to throw. Maybe even a head kick, who knows? Justin Gaethje has really heavy kicks, but I think it's a punch that gets it done. Fiziev, it's the cage rust. Fiziev is skillful though. The striking is there. The grappling is there in a sense. It's just, the cage rust plays a huge factor, and basically just the striking. Because if you look at Fiziev and Justin's first fight, because they have fought before, Justin was able to just pretty much outpunch Fiziev. And I think Justin will definitely be able to do so in another fight between them. So, it's the cage rust, and it's what Gaethje has been able to do in the first fight. Only way the outcome changes is if Fiziev, by some turn of events, has been like training nonstop, like Batman style or some shit like that, and added like a couple new deadly weapons to his arsenal while he's been on layaway. But I kind of doubt that has happened. I think Fiziev, it's just been tough for him to find a fight or get a fight booked. He now has one, but he's been away from the cage for a long ass time. So, I guess you just got to go in there with the best package you can create, or you can set up. So yeah, overall, it's not what Dan Hooker and Justin Gaethje could have been, but it's the next best thing out of what has been offered. In terms of this fight between Gaethje and Fiziev, I think Gaethje gets the knockout in round 3, early in round 3. He's able to knock out Fiziev, call for a title shot in lightweight. I think Islam Makhachev will oblige, because Islam has been thinking about a fight between him and Gaethje, just because, again, Gaethje is a fresh face for Islam, and Islam has been fighting a couple guys at the same time. So yeah, I think this is just it. Gaethje's in a good place. Gaethje's in a great. He's in a great place right now in terms of strategy wise and career wise and legacy wise as well, because this can definitely set up one last title shot for this legendary UFC brawler. And I can't wait to see what's next. If he's able to get it done, which I think he will get it done, he's going to get a title shot against Islam. Whether or not he gets it before Ilya, that remains to be seen. But overall, you let me know what you think. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. But most importantly, subscribe. I love you guys, and I'll see you all in the next.